Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Abigail if you are new, and most of my videos have to do with special needs, health issues, and feeding tubes. And I use this channel to spread awareness for those things. But I thought, well, I got my pump all ready for bed. This would be kind of the time to chat with y'all, I guess. So I'm going to prime this tube real quick, and then I'll be right back because there is a lot of beeping, and I don't want obsessive beeping to be in the video. So I'll be right back. Okay, so sorry about the pause. I ended up, I got my pump all set up, and I also went ahead and took my meds, but I didn't want to be distracted with the camera because I gotta take like a certain amount. So anyways, I am back. Today is the anniversary of something kind of hard that happened in my life. Around a year or a few days ago was a year ago since I got my feeding tube, and so many good things have came out of having a feeding tube. I've gained good weight. I'm obviously full. All those good things. However, after I was released from the hospital, we were told that I was going to be sore for so many days, and so many days I should take it easy and all of that. Well, a few days after I got out of the hospital, let's just say that at least this is what I remember. I'm not sure if this is exactly what happened, but I was not feeling good during this time, so this is my opinion on what happened. See, I only had to stay in the hospital for, I think it was either 24 hours or 2 days, something like that. But the reason why I kept on having to stay in there longer was because insurance wouldn't cover my formula for my feeding tube, and we had to go through insurance, and they're like, it's gonna be this many more days before we can get it shipped to your house. Which I was very dependent on that formula because I don't eat food. I can have some kinds of candy, and I can have things that melt like ice cream, but not actual food. And so in the hospital I was depending on my formula. And what was supposed to happen was, the way I remember it, they were going to mail me my own pump, because my own feeding tube pump, because the pump that I used in the hospital belonged to the hospital. So they were going to mail me my pump, and they were going to mail me my formula. Well, it had been several days. I was thinking maybe 3 days or so. And I could only have what I could keep down by mouth, which was before, ice cream and those type of things. Not much at all. And anyways, it put a lot of stress on my body between, I guess, starving and healing from a major surgery. I I went to take a shower. This was day 3 or 4, I think, after surgery. I was home. I was on the feeding pump, and my mom had mentioned to me that it had been a while since I had taken a shower, so it would probably feel good to wash my hair. And so I was like, okay. So I go in the bathroom to take a shower, and I mean, of course, I was sore because I recently had surgery, but we didn't really think anything was going to go wrong. Um, the next thing I know, I am in the shower and I just feel like something is wrong. I didn't know what, but I felt like I could not control myself. And my mom had knocked on the door to check on me, and she's like, "Hey, are you okay? It's been a little while." And I said, "I don't know." And my mom kind of panicked, and she had opened the door, and I was like this, kind of like in a ball, and I was kind of like dry heaving, and I wasn't like passed out because my eyes were open, but I felt like I couldn't hardly move. It was awful. And my mom runs into the bathroom and grabs me and um, gets me some pajamas or shorts or something, and then after I'm dressed, my dad gets me and puts me in my room and runs me to my bed, and we call 911. And our neighbor, or they've moved since then, but a lady that was recently our neighbor, she um was a nurse, and she came down and looked at me and make sure I was okay. We called 911 and the ambulance came down here to our house. And I remember I felt like I couldn't respond. Like, I could hear them, but I felt like I couldn't say anything. My dad carried me out to the stretcher outside. They laid me on the stretcher. They immediately got me into the hospital. And they basically said that my body was going through stress from healing from surgery, but also I was like dehydrated, so it was making it worse. And I think my body was just going through too much. And so I remember we got to the hospital and they're like rushing me down the hallway. They get me into a room and I think it was around the time they got me off the stretcher that like goes into the ambulance, like to a hospital room. I had asked my mom if she could have our pastor's wife come down because I was kind of scared and I didn't know what was going to happen. And so she was like, "Yeah, I'll let him know." So our pastor and pastor's wife comes down to the hospital, and the next thing I know, they're there because they live not very far from our hospital. And I remember like they were like really worried and stuff. And finally at the end of the night, they told me I could go home. They gave me some hydration and told me that I needed to rest. And I think after that I went home and I slept for like a long time, and then I think the next day I was pretty much over it. But today was the anniversary of that, and I'm really glad that everyone took it so serious and took care of me, and that we have, friends that will come help. And it is kind of a scary memory to think about, but at the same time it made me really thankful for all the people that have been so supportive through everything. and like anytime there's like a problem, they're either there in person or they're praying or those type of things, and it just made me really thankful to like not be alone, like obviously like my parents were there, but like I don't know, for our pastor and his wife to come down was just like really sweet, and that is a memory of mine that is definitely scary to look back on, but it also makes me realize like what all I've been through and what all I've like overcome so far. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share today, is that memory. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.